Hi, my name's Steve Martile, and in this video, I'm going to talk about self-sabotage. Where does it come from, and what can we do about it? So self-sabotage would be thoughts that you have in your head that are disempowering, like I'm not good enough, or I'm not a good husband, or I'm not a good wife, or I'm not a good mother, or father, or I'm not a good friend, right? Or I'm not a good brother, sister. Or I'm just not good enough, or I'm not smart enough. And this is the theme below this, I'm not good enough, is that there's something wrong, right? And if you look at how people behave on social media, you'll see that that type of perception is very common. There's something wrong. Now, what most of us do in the self-help space, right, is that when we feel that there's something wrong, we go to a good book, or we do affirmations, or we visualize. And the problem is that if you want to get rid of those thoughts, those self-sabotaging thoughts, you're going to have a hard time doing it because they don't go away. And I'm not saying, to live in a cave so that you don't have any thoughts at all, although some people might go to that extreme. We have thoughts, it's normal. I'm just saying that you don't get anything of benefit from the thoughts, okay? That stream of consciousness does not benefit you because most of them are from the past. So you're just recreating your past, right? So when you hear the I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not young enough, old enough, right? There's something wrong. That's from the past, okay? It's from past memories, and those thoughts are disempowering and they don't serve us. But like I said, what we do is I used to do the same thing. We go read a good book, right? Get in a better space, right? So that I'm feeling in a positive, empowering space. The problem is then those thoughts come back again. And then you kind of run into this pattern where it's like you're feeling really good one day, and then the next day you're feeling like crap. And then you feel, you go back to your book or whatever it is that your affirmations, or you listen to an MP3 or a podcast, and then you feel really good again, and then you feel like crap again. And it's kind of like this swinging all the time. And so because you're working at the level of mind, it's artificial, meaning that you don't really get any lasting change. And so affirmations, visualizations, books are all good. I'm writing a book. I'm writing 2 this year. They're good things. But to create lasting change, to get rid of those negative thoughts, you have to realize 2 things. One is the problem doesn't exist in your head, in the mind. And number 2 is you need to understand how thoughts are stored. Okay? Now, I don't know if you've watched any other videos or on this topic, but if you realize is that you're having these self-sabotaging thoughts, you want to do something about it, but you're not sure what to do. You've read the books, you do the MP3s, you feel good for a little while, you go to the seminars, but then you go down again, right? It's like there's this fluctuation of energy. So if you understand how thoughts are stored, then it makes this whole problem disappear. And it's that emotions create thoughts, okay? You've probably heard the reverse, like thoughts, right, lead to emotions or feelings, and those feelings lead to actions and results. Bob Proctor teaches that. But this is also true. This is a truth. This is spiritual truth, is that emotions lead to thoughts. And you know this. Let me give you an example. You start worrying. You're worried. All of a sudden you get thoughts worrying about your finances. You start worrying about maybe the safety of the people in your family, your own safety, right? And a good example of that when this whole thing started 2 years ago, and there was a lot of panic because people started to panic and worry. Then they started to get thoughts that related to those emotions. So those emotions, those emotions create the thoughts. So if you want to get to the source of the negative thoughts of this, I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or this I'm not enough theme, then you want to go back to, well, what emotions are you having in that moment that are creating those thoughts? And if you were aware person, you would come back and realize that those emotions are worry, fear, panic. But now here's what's really interesting. The emotions create the thoughts, right? So if you can completely let go of those emotions, then you wouldn't have the thoughts anymore. So that's the source to this self-sabotage pattern, is these emotions. That's the source of it. Because emotions are energy, and energy creates the thoughts. So you just want to eliminate that energy. Okay. Now, like I said, a lot of you are probably doing what I used to do, is I did NLP, right? You try to replace thoughts, but the energy is still there. It's kind of like a window. Like if you use your phone and you have an app running in the background, you don't know it's running. That's what the emotion is. Until it gets triggered, then you start to worry, then you feel it. Now it's got power, right? And it creates these thoughts. So it becomes this endless self-fulfilling prophecy, this self-fulfilling loop where you're going up, good day, bad day, good luck, bad luck. I used to be like this too, because I remember, this is about 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, I would be like, oh, I could feel like some good luck's coming in and some amazing things would happen over the next couple days. And then I was like, oh, but now the bad luck's coming. And then I'd get like a flat tire on my car or whatever. And it was never always good. It was always like, good luck, bad. This self-sabotage patterns and these thoughts. And I always thought it was the thoughts. But the thoughts, if you understand how thoughts are stored, they actually created by emotions. Okay? Especially the ones that are self-sabotaging patterns. And these emotions are energy. Energy is what creates the thought. So most importantly, this is the key part. The body stores emotions. Your body, this temple stores emotions, and that's trapped energy, because emotions create thoughts. Emotions are energy. It's trapped energy. And these energy is what creates the thoughts. So it's the trapped energy that creates the thoughts. Now here's where we get into a deep dive into like this not enough theme. The not enough theme in many cases will come from trapped energy, emotions, in the stomach. And that is the solar plexus, energy center. That energy, worry, panic, whatever it is, in the stomach creates thoughts. And then you go through that self-fulfilling pattern, right? So these are energetic trapped energy. It's energetic blocks that are trapped. And until you release the trapped energy, the thoughts continue. Now here's what's fascinating about this whole thing, and it's very counterintuitive, is that the only reason that energy is trapped in that energy center, and like I said, you don't feel it all the time, and most of you, you're going to be unconscious of it. But when something triggers you outside, all of a sudden that trapped energy starts to flare up, and then you feel the worry, or you feel the panic, or the fear. Okay? Usually fear isn't in the stomach, but trapped energy would be like panic, possibly worry, guilt. That would be in the stomach. Okay. You get triggered, you feel the guilt, right? Like you know, if you have kids and you didn't do something and you feel like you neglected them, the guilt comes up, and then you get thoughts. And you say, I got to go read another self-help book. And then you go do that, and then you're back in this pattern. Why is it? Because you're not understanding how energy is stored in the body through emotions. It's trapped in the stomach. Okay, so it's either dormant in you right now, where you can't feel it at all in the stomach, this trapped energy, guilt, worry, whatever it is, or it's flared up and it's been triggered. But I can tell you this, it's like an app on your phone. It's still sending out signals, receiving signals. It's still there. Here's what's the fascinating, I find very fascinating, is that trapped energy is there because you keep it there. Now, most people will, probably 99% of people watch this will disagree with me, but that trapped energy is there because you keep it there. And I'm not going to have a battle in the comments about who's right or wrong. I know that if you have trapped energy in your stomach, it's a form of resistance, and you're keeping it there. And if you're willing to let it go, that you can actually let it go. Here's what stops people from letting it go, which keeps the self-sabotage thoughts going, is that the pain or the fear of letting it go is greater than the resistance or the guilt. So in other words, the guilt is strong, right? That guilt that you feel in your stomach or whatever it is, the worry, it's a strong feeling, but the fear of letting it go and changing is greater than that guilt. And because of that, you hold on to it, which just totally makes sense to me. Because why would you experience more pain to get something that's less painful? But here's what I will tell you, and I'm going to be really truthful with you because I've gone through this myself. You can't have a new life, your dream, without letting go of that stored energy, because that's the past. You can't take it into the future. You either keep the current life that you have, which is that trapped energy, because remember, those emotions are energy, and that energy is your life force, and that also creates your life. Perceptions, your actions, your experience, your behavior, your rituals, your patterns. So either you keep that energy, which is from your past, or you can have your dream in the future, but you can't have both. And so the reason you have to let go of it, that trapped energy in this solar plexus area, is because you can't take it with you in the future. Your future, the new timeline. So that's your choice, is you either get to keep it or you get to change your life. But you can't have both. And for most people, I would say more than 90% of people, the reason that they stay the way they are and they never change, doesn't matter if it's 40 years from now, they don't change their patterns, their habits, they keep eating the same foods, whatever it is because that trapped energy, which in this case we'll label as, worry or not feeling enough or guilt, is less in intensity than the fear of change. The fear of change is too big for them to let go of this, so they hold on to it. And so anyways, one of the things I did this morning is I went through a process of helping this woman let it go, and we got to that point where she wasn't really willing to let it go. But then she realizes that if I do hold on to this energy, this stored energy, this trapped energy, my life won't change. She goes, I must let it go. And she did. And we got to the other side of it. And guess what happened? It was completely gone. Now her life can change. So if that's something you're interested in, I'm offering these sessions. It's free to get on an energy clearing session with me. If you want to chat, great. There's no financial investment, just to talk with me for free, and there's a link down below. But after that, if you decide that this is something you want to do, and I know that I can help you, and we can pinpoint where this trapped energy is in the body, then I'll help you do it. Okay, there is an investment, but if you're willing to do that, then great. Okay? Thanks for watching my channel. Thanks for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you really like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with someone important to you. Thanks again for watching. My name's Steve. We'll talk to you next time.